Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to Beauty Within. It's your two hosts,
Rowena
and Felicia, or otherwise known as Falili and Rowiwi. So today we wanted to talk about our skin during these transitional phases because with the changes in temperature and lifestyle, this is where our skin can also often get confused and potentially act up, showing signs of inflammation and irritation.
It can show up as acne, which is very, very common. I know for me, I get random flare-ups or my eczema will start coming out or there'll just be random patches on my chest or on my neck. And for everyone else out there, we seem to all collectively become combination skin types because for Fel, she starts getting more dry and then I start getting more oily, but then also really, really, really dry.
Yeah. So it's like, what is happening?
In this episode, we'll be discussing how we transition our skincare, talk about our top 5 ingredients to help calm down skin.
And a portion of this video is sponsored by one of our collective favorite brands, Purito, because we're super excited to get deeper into some of the ways that Centella asiatica that we mention all the time and other soothing ingredients can really help to restore our skin barrier to that natural glow that we all yearn for.
So let's first talk a little bit about inflammation, sensitive and sensitized skin, and what they actually mean because they are quite different.
They are. Alrighties, inflammation. Say it with me now. Inflammation is like It truly is though. So inflammation happens probably to every one of us at some point in time and in different ways.
If you've heard of acne, then you know the dealio, as acne and breakouts are probably the most common inflammatory conditions when it comes to our skin, but it also includes things like skin rashes, itchiness, eczema, psoriasis, and more.
And basically anything that makes you feel some sort of way on the surface that's not normal, right? Like if it makes you think like, why is this itchy? Why does this hurt? That's probably some sort of inflammation.
Or like, why is it bumpy? What's going on?
And it can be caused by external as well as internal factors, including things like genetics, diet, and for the lovely ladies here, hormone levels.
Then there's everything from the temperature to the skincare routine you're currently using that can create other inflammatory conditions. It's like being potentially attacked from everywhere at the same time.
Which is why I think most people are so confused why. Because it's like sometimes a double whammy.
Yes. So as an example of external factors and conditions, you know how New York's starting to open up these days? So I went to a sauna or like a bathhouse. Yeah, like a bathhouse where they have like a steam room, a sauna, and a jacuzzi. And we know that these things combined should, in theory, like help our skin glow, right? But I think
open the pores, make it luminous.
Yes. But then I came home and I washed my face and my face was burning. It was on fire.
Oh.
I applied my same skincare routine and it just was so sensitized. I think because of the extreme temperature, because I'm just such a sensitive person.
All right, so how many of you guys think you have dry skin and sensitive skin? Or even oily and sensitive skin? Or even combo and sensitive skin?
Probably a lot of you, right? Because we hear it all the time. What we've found is that a lot of people can think they're sensitive because they just can't work out what's really going on with their skin. So it's another word for straight up confusion or fear of the unknown.
Which we all totally get, like we all have to go through this. And the hard part of distinguishing between sensitive and sensitized skin is that they have very similar symptoms and appearances. So how we understand it is that sensitized skin is sometimes a product of our own mistakes. And probably one of the more popular self-induced reasons that we get ourselves into is when we get really excited over a new product or something that we heard was really good and we just overdo it, right? With like chemical exfoliants or even vitamin A, B, C. Or there's even acne treatments that we can tend to overuse if we're just like completely desperate to get rid of all the breakouts, and then you just cause yourself some sort of irritation.
Weaken that skin barrier.
Yeah. So sensitive skin, on the other hand, is a little bit different and isn't created by these self-made problems.
But it's more of a genetic condition and something we're born with. So sensitive skin types tend to have less pigment in their skin and a thinner epidermis, thus causing them to have less of a protective barrier for the skin, which opens it up for factors that lead to compromised barrier function.
It's like the foundational level is already kind of like innately, thinner,
weaker.
It's more compromised and weaker, So for us, we have different skin types, different skin conditions. So what's like the top 3 ways that you can tell yours is like inflamed or sensitized?
So the first thing we mentioned earlier is when I'm applying my regular routine, nothing has changed. It's all very soothing, gentle ingredients to begin with. It starts stinging a little. So that's more of my skin and less about the product. Something that I actually learned recently, one of our editors was like, Ro, I don't think you should use the rice cleansers because every time after I use it, my skin gets red. It gets like a little flushed. It's not too irritating, but I do also see the redness. So maybe it's just the rice and the physical exfoliation makes it more sensitized. And the third thing is I already have eczema, or like I grew up with eczema. I think it's gotten a lot better over the past couple of years, but sometimes it's like my diet. If I were to eat something, it would flare up on my arms, especially like right here. Not as much on my face, sometimes maybe on my neck, but I think that's mostly due to the changing in the season. Like every winter, I would get this like red itchy patch right here.
Yeah.
It looks like a little heart sometimes, and like a necklace, but I'm not wearing a necklace.
It's like the heart of the sea from Titanic, but eczema. How romantic.
What about you? 3 signs.
One is when my skin gets a little more combination. It's really dry around crevices. So around the nose, outside of my temples, around the jawline. I think just change of the weather and also a hint for me to maybe notch up in more like comforting ingredients. And then 2 is obviously breakouts. That is my like biggest cue of life, which is more of a sign that it's internal, that I should check what I'm eating and what I'm doing with my life. Stress levels, sleep patterns, everything. And I think another one, I'm pretty extreme when it comes to like sensitized skin. So I'll get rashes instantly. I think I overdid niacinamide one time. And then it started off as this kind of rough patch around here, which was fine, you couldn't see it. Remember I asked you, like, can you see it?
Yeah.
But it hurts. And then it started spreading everywhere like wildfire. But the key is that it will revert back.
In due time.
In due time, if you use the right products and ingredients, which takes us to products and ingredients. So here we have Centella asiatica, which we talked to death about. And then we have green tea, we have ceramides, calendula, and oat. These, of course, aren't the be-all, end-all of soothing and calming ingredients, but it's like what spoke to us the most.
It's what we would reach for the most when our skin is inflamed. And I think Centella is just the instant no-brainer thought of like, I just need Centella if my skin is sensitized.
Yeah.
And we've made a few videos on skin barrier, why it's important to use soothing ingredients and ingredients that help strengthen our skin barrier. So all of these add to that.
And I don't think we've really taken a deep dive, so let's dive in deep. Meow, meow, meow.
To Centella, the land of the Asiatical side.
Medical side, Asiatic acid.
So if you guys have been around this channel for a bit, you know our love for Purito.
Yeah, that was actually how I first probably got introduced to Centella before it became this huge, like almost trend.
It was this specific.
The buffet. Put it on the map. If you guys have tried any of the Purito Centella line, you'll know that it's great for calming inflammation, redness. It's like this trusty, dependable go-to type of skincare line because they concentrate on like minimal ingredients. Their top ingredients are always not water, but the Centella asiatica, right? And for the deep sea water, it's like deep sea water.
Yeah, it's like 60% deep sea water.
Yeah.
And one thing Fel and I both really appreciate about Purito is they're not yelling that they're clean or they're green, but they are. Everything from the packaging it comes with, they have all the ingredients on there. It's so nice. Like everything is recyclable and
it's like very purposeful.
yeah. And we've talked about the name so many times, but I think it's just worth saying because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Purify and tu, or like dirt or soil or root. And as a brand, they believe that good skincare starts at the root. For them, they purposely state that, you know, it's a long-term journey with your skin and we want to be along with that to provide clean and like helpful, soothing ingredients.
Philosophy we vibe with. Yes. And I think on top of that, they also really listen to what the people want, right?
Yes.
So at the beginning, it was like Centella's already this great ingredient focus, right? They have the toner, they have the sunscreen, but a lot of you guys said that you don't like essential oils. They took that feedback and created an unscented line that is free of fragrance and free of essential oils.
Yes, I think if you truly have sensitive skin, that's a great thing that a brand has done. Because it's very rare for a brand to just be like, all right, we're just gonna completely completely take out these ingredients that our customer gave us feedback for. So we think that's really awesome. So what does it do exactly?
Centella Asiatica extract has a rich amount of nutrients and antioxidants that not only helps to scavenge free radicals that cause things like aging, dullness, dryness, but it also helps to lower inflammation and kill bacteria, and also increase skin hydration, and also enhance the skin barrier function, all of which we talked about defines sensitive and sensitized skin as well as inflammation, right? And even better, Centella Asiatica is also rich in things like amino acids, which can help to trigger more collagen production in our skin and also heal wounds. So if you have a cut or scrape, if you have any compromised areas where it's itchy, rashy, whatever it is, that's why this is such a great ingredient for that. But let's just do like a slight comparison just so you guys can know the actual difference. So this is the toner, and in terms of consistency, they're very, very similar. It's kind of like that viscousy toner that's not completely water. It holds a little, so it's in between toner and serum to me. So for these ones, if you guys have tried either or, the only difference really is that there's no essential oil in it because the panthenol, Centella Asiatica, is both still formulated.
And for the serum, so this is what I've been using a lot of. And similar to the toner, the consistency is very similar. The ingredients are actually a bit different. So for the OG, the buffet serum has Centella Asiatica extract, of course, at 49%. There's also peptides, asiaticoside, asiatic acid, and madecassic acid. So these are just derivatives of Centella. And then for the unscented serum, it also has 49% Centella extract, niacinamide, ceramide, peptides, and madecassic acid. I would say if you want something that's like super soothing, and that's it, this is perfect. But you know, of course, if you want something that is super soothing while also adding a little bit of an oomph, so I think niacinamide is one of our favorite ingredients, and then it just works so well with anything. I think this could be a great thing to try out. All right, so now moving on to the ones that aren't so similar.
In our humble opinion.
Just in our humble opinion, yeah. So we have the recovery cream and the unscented recovery cream. And we also have the sunscreen. So let's start with the cream.
Yep.
So similar to the toner and the serum, the recovery cream is also quite similar in terms of the ingredient list. They both have 50% Centella Asiatica extract, 2% niacinamide, asiaticoside, madecassic acid, and asiatic acid. I would say texture-wise, the recovery cream applies more like a water cream. It's very smooth, and then it does give you like an instant burst of hydration. And I feel like the unscented recovery cream, although it has similar textures, it did take a bit longer for it to work into my skin.
I don't know why, maybe it's just like my skin has more oils.
Yeah.
So the fact that it isn't formulated with essential oils mix well with it.
And then me, I'm just like, hello, I just want to go to bed.
Get in there.
Come on.
Yeah. I think if you have like combo normal skin, you won't even notice a thing. This is because we've literally tried so many moisturizers that it's like apparent to us, but for the humble person, you'll be like, great. No essential oils, great. It's kind of the same with the sunscreen. And the reason why we love this so much is because it's not sticky, it applies like a moisturizer, it has no white cast, and it's just great to layer on, right?
It is.
If you apply it side by side, especially just speaking for my own like oily skin, this is a tad bit more like moussey. It's like less glowy and more satin. Not saying that this one is Glow Town, but it is more like glowy.
It's just very lightweight, very fast absorbing into your skin, and it doesn't take too much work to like blend it into your skin.
Once again, if you're looking for something that doesn't have essential oils, if you're like, that is the bane of my existence, then you have an option here. You'll love it. Now moving on to another ingredient that we also love, green tea.
Yes.
So there are tons of examples. Amore Pacific, Vintage Essence, ding!
So green tea as an ingredient, you can put it on your face, you can consume it. It is high in polyphenols, which are antioxidants, making it anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, help calm redness, breakouts, just soothing your skin.
It's probably the most like self-care is skincare ingredient out there.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yes.
like drink your green tea as you're doing your skincare routine and you're like healing yourself from the inside out.
Yes, and there's also tannins found in green tea, which has astringent properties that can help reduce the production of excess sebum. So tying it back to the vintage essence, the fermented green tea just basically means that the process they extract the green tea allows your skin to absorb it better because of the fermentation process. And I personally just love how soothing and hydrating it is.
Same with this one. This is the one we've also been talking a lot about because it's such a great product. We wouldn't call it a dupe because it doesn't have the fermented aspect of it, but this is the Benton Deep Green Tea Toner, which is also majority green tea water. It has no sticky feeling when you layer it on. You can literally sit there and layer on like 6, 7, keep going.
You do like half a bottle in one sitting.
Yes!
And like it won't ever get sticky or tacky.
Yes, it never gets too much, doesn't feel like anything, while plumping up the skin cells and giving you that like natural baby plush to the skin. It's also like fragrance free and just very, once again, kind of like clean, but not outwardly clean.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, moving on to probably one of the more underrated, but my absolute favorite I mean, all of these are favorite, but like it's our go-to, right, is oat or colloidal oatmeal.
Yeah, it's so good for eczema. I used to put oatmeal in the bath
Yes.
and take baths in it to help soothe and calm down the inflamed skin.
So there's 2 examples we have here. There's a lot of like skincare brands that do formulate with colloidal oatmeal. There's First Aid Beauty, which a lot of their products are built around oat
Yeah.
because it's full sensitive.
This toner.
This is like that milky toner that not many other toners have.
Yeah.
So they have propolis extract, which is another super great antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It's got honey ferment filtrate as well as the green tea. Basically everything in here is really great for just problematic sensitized skin. And then we have Krave, the Oat So Simple Water Cream. This is, as the name suggests, built off of the fact that oat is great. So this is another great one for if you're like, what is going on? And it kind of just dissipates. Yeah. This is why we love water cream. So anyway, before I get into that, the reason why and how oat works on our skin is that it consists of polysaccharides as well as proteins, lipids, saponins, enzymes, flavonoids, vitamins. All of these are actually naturally present in our skin, our building blocks, our sebum, and when our skin barrier is compromised, we're actually losing a lot of these. So you gotta replenish it, and oat is like that natural, oh my God, natural substance of the earth.
That's why it's so good for eczema. I think the best way to describe eczema is your skin barrier is just constantly compromised and it's like fighting itself. That's why something like oats just like chill, stop being itchy, calm down.
Stop right now. And also talking about internal, oats are so great in the morning.
Yeah.
If we're talking about anti-inflammatory diet to help with breakouts and acne, run to like have oats in the morning.
Sprinkle some turmeric in there.
Yeah, some turmeric.
We'll have it with a cup of green tea.
Yes, and some fresh fruit, drizzle with some honey, maple, you're good. It will completely change your skin. So now moving on to probably ingredient for like drier skin types when you're inflamed.
Ceramides. Ceramides just help do this with your skin barrier.
Because we naturally have ceramides.
Yes. So as we've said before, if your skin cells are the bricks for a wall, then you can think of ceramides as the sticky glue that holds them together. This process eventually works as a watertight barrier that works as a shield to protect us from external environmental factors. So what this does is that it helps water from evaporating from under your skin.
And as we've talked about, keeping hydration is the key to truly glowing skin.
Yes. And we have 2 here. One is from Purito. This is their sleeping pack. So in here, there's ceramides, of course. There's hyaluronic. There's Cica, I'm sure, because it's a Cica cream. I think this is just significantly thicker than something like this without being like heavy. And then there's also this COSRX Comfort Ceramide Cream, which has...
Also Centella.
Yeah. And I think another thing when I think of ceramides, I think basic. because these are all like basic creams. And when we say basic, we don't mean basic. We mean like a good basic.
Love this basic.
Yeah, so it's like, let's say you're gonna be using chemical exfoliants, or you're gonna be using active ingredients that are pretty intense or pretty high in dosage. You're gonna wanna go in with something like this afterwards to really kind of neutralize everything. Because if you use active ingredients in every single step of your routine, they're gonna be scary. They're gonna be fighting.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding. One more product that I love with ceramides is Paula's Choice Omega Plus, the moisturizer. Oh, it's like the whipped texture.
Yeah.
That whipped velvet.
Whipped.
The dupe for Lala Retro Drunk Elephant that I'm still so proud of.
And it also gave rise to the brand that I love, Ceramide. That's why you'll see them formulated with like 3 different types of ceramides, hyaluronic acid and niacinamide. Love Ceramide. Now moving on to the last ingredient that we're mentioning for soothing and calming, probably also not as spoken of, is calendula. And calendula is actually a flower. Yes, but what it does is help with hydration as well as calming, soothing, but also slightly with, you know, your collagen and plumping the skin. So why I love this is also quite similar to the oat. It does help relieve itching and redness. And I feel like this ingredient, as well as all the others, are so great to pair with, as you said, like chemical exfoliants and acne medication, because what those are doing is either rapidly exfoliating your skin, where it's revealing very like fresh, taut skin, which can then be attacked by UV rays, and then it's like this downward spiral if you don't protect it. It reminds me of like the fresh rose. You know, it has petals in it. It's really great. I think that one's also alcohol free, but I think a lot of the criticism you get from products like that is that it doesn't seem to do anything. But that's because it's not designed to completely...
All of these.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get instant from any of these ingredients.
Yeah, it's like if you ran a 5-mile marathon, what do you need? You want water. That's all you want. But would you say water is that exciting? No, but it saves your life. Like, that's how I feel like these ingredients really work, right? So calendula, I think, for the reason that it is compared a lot of the time with a lot of these well-marketed ingredients, kind of falls under the radar. But to me, I really love it. So that about wraps up our soothing, calming, inflammation, sensitive skin video. This one's actually very exciting and near and dear to our heart, because these are basically all the ingredients that we've been using for the last year. So if you guys have any additional questions about how it works, leave them below. And once again, we want to thank Purito for sharing such awesome products with us and you guys.
Before we go, what is one thing you learned this week?
Actually, one thing that I've been thinking about, it's like duality.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay,
Oh.
stay with me for a second. You know how like we always kind of we think of something good as good, and then we think of something bad as bad. But I feel like whether it's an action, whether it's a feeling, whether it's an emotion, it's actually this balancing act of good and bad, because you can take the same thing and it can be a detriment to you, right? In either ends of the extreme. And what led me onto that is like thinking about present and future, right? It's like how we get to the future. It's about like changing the present, because your future is the present. Like your present determines your future. So you're actively in your future right now. So anyway, this might be a little bit meta. And also like the opposing natures of things and how we just need to strike a balance. And the more that we can, instead of like, maybe sometimes we're here, maybe we're here, in the way that we like perceive certain things, the more we can kind of centralize all of that, you won't be as moved and you won't be as like riled.
A great book for the duality that I've come across is Outwitting the Devil. So in the book, he talks about how in this universe, there's just like positive and negative, and it just exists like that.
Coexist.
In many, many, many layers, right? And then it's just like how there are positively charged atoms and negatively charged atoms. I might be missing this up because I don't remember chemistry.
But it's just like a magnet.
Yes, but it's like with everything, there's positive and negative. It talks about devil not as like the devil like a person, but the way that the devil describes himself, he just so happens to be the negative nature to the positive, which is like the lighter side. And I think it's just, it's fascinating learning and hearing about dualities and how it's used in different ideologies. And with that, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Broken, the mortar and pestle. Not the mortar and pestle.
Are you even speaking English?
Wait, what is it again? The
Brick and
brick and mortar. The mortar and pestle. The mortar and pestle is the stone thing where you grind pepper. It was the mortar that got me. Wait, what is it again?
Brick.
Brick and mortar.
Are we talking about a mom and pop shop?
Now I'm confused. It is brick and mortar, right?
It's like building.
Mom and pop.
No, brick and mortar sounds like mom and pop.
Yeah, I'm struggling.
I am even struggling.
Every day we're struggling. Beep, 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 beep.
And discomfort. How uncomfortable.
Let's get that out. How uncomfortable. The most epic afterthought ever.